saw that what was his reason for attack on poetry, that was the salient features that was in collaboration. Now I have separated that topic a little bit, so to more elaborate it. So to start with, let us see what the poetry is, because unless we know what is poetry, how can we know why he made criticism against it? So it is where our assimilation of emotions are there by the distinctive styles in a poetry. Whatever the poet writes, it has some distinctive style by the use of rhythm, by the use of diction, and by every art there is some creativity, and poetry is also having some creativity. Another is that poetry is the record of the best and happiest moments of the happiest and best minds. So this is aptly true. When a poet writes, he is experiencing any kind of emotions and is fully submerged in it. So that is very much reflected in his work. As Wordsworth also have said, quote, poetry is the breadth and finer spirit of knowledge, unquote. So whatever the poet writes, he is expressing his emotions. Poetry is a mirror which makes beautiful that which is distorted. This implies that a poet through his diction of words glorifies, amplifies, beautifies not only which is beautiful but also the distorted one. A very beautiful example is P.B. Shelley's Ozymandias. You all must have read that poem, where he has not only beautifully depicted the distorted figure of King Ozymandias, but well explained the beauty, love, and expression. So, in spite of the ruined statue, it is very artistically and beautifully picturized. One is lost in its beauty while reading it. So, then we assume it to be perfect in every sphere. So, while reading the poem, we can't assume it to be distorted the way the poet has expressed it. Now, there are some functions of poetry. The main function is to influence the masses, to make them restrained in their attitude, to bring a seriousness in their attitude. This is the main function of the poetry. So poem should bring a positive change in the character of human being. And it must also uphold the idea of true, the good, and the beautiful. So through the poetry, the beauty of the world, the truth of the world, it should be highlighted. It should be at the highest form of authenticity. Now, the poet has to play the role of a teacher. How? Because he is like a teacher who could influence, or whose influence could be felt, and who is very much concerned with its society's upliftment and its growth. So like a teacher, he has to mold the society. He has to inculcate moral values and has to change the mindset of the masses, because he is the one who writes the poetry for the good of the society. So this is the main function of the poet or the poetry, that it has to bring a round change in the society for the betterment of the society. Now coming on to Plato, as we discussed that in his Republic, he discussed about the ideal state. He has used the ideal state as a metaphor for the mind of the virtuous men, and it is divided into the three classes. Those three classes are the artisans. All the artisans, whether the painters, the sculptors, the poets, they are all included in this class. The military, the people who protect the boundaries of the country, and the philosopher, those who think about the society. So these three symbols, the tripartite soul, they were there, and there the artisan stands for appetite, the military stands for the spirit, and the philosophers or the king for reason. So according to him, that reason exists, and so many transcend the basic need of the appetite and the spirit. And in his ideal state, there was no place for poets. For him, he considered poets to be bad, to be liars, to be contagious, to be mad, as they are contrary to the philosophy. And it is therefore that they should be exiled or their energy rechanneled into productive areas. Now, what are the views of Plato? So, according to Plato, he says that as a painter deceives through color illusion, so a poet deceives through the illusion of feelings to produce a distorted view of life. which implies that when a painter paints, he is showing his best through the color illusions. The dark side of his painting is hidden beneath the colors because he will not highlight the dark effects. He will always show it in the best possible way. Same way, a poet through the feelings, emotions, gives a distorted view of life present in a very beautiful and artistic way. Thus, illusion and hiding the dark aspects of life. He will write under the spell of muses, write what is reflected in his mind, and will not give the true picture of the society. So, poets are always not writing what is true and they are illusion. Now, when we read a poem, what happens? The content in it either makes us happy, sad, or agitated, or sometimes we have a patriotic feeling, a lovable feeling. So, what is all that? This all is because the writer has written it in his own mood, and his mood is reflected, and that reflection is caused within us. Sorry, they make us inactive emotionally. We lose our sense of thinking, and our mind gets imbalanced, and we are unable to take ourselves out of it. We are deeply submerged in it. We are sometimes so much involved in it that we feel ourselves as the character of that thing. We assume ourselves in place of that character, so our emotions are highlighted. So they feed and water the passions instead of drying them up. So our passions and emotions, our thoughts, they are under the spell, under the control of poetry. We are left helpless at the mercy of poet. We are not in a state of judgment to decide between what is good and what is bad. Book 10 of Republic discusses the nature of poetry at length. So in that book, a very descriptive view of regarding poetry has been given. Now, according to Plato, art is powerful and therefore dangerous. Means that according to Plato in his book Republic, he, through his character, Euripides says, quote, if his art is true and his counsel sound, and if he brings help to the nation by making men better in some spirit, unquote. So he held the idea that the poetry must promote an ethical and social purpose. It should be a part of education of the young citizens to mold them, to change them into better persons. And he valued art only for the beneficial influence that could mold the person into good citizens. So on that basis, he was criticizing poetry. So Plato considered any artistic production as dangerous by noting that the pleasure we get from drama and poetry, according to him, that it is even more harmful because whenever we are viewing or dealing with some sort of drama or poetry, so judgment is left in our mind, and the result is very lawlessness. We are not in a state to judge properly because we are fully submerged in it, and we are making us familiar with that character. So the dramatic poet, the poets who are writing in a dramatic tone, they produces a similar state of affair in the mind of reader, and they are not they should not be encouraged, and by creating images, they are far removed from reality. They are not leading us to reality, they are leading us away from reality. Now his objection on moral and philosophical grounds. On moral grounds, he says that art is immoral because it is not in the that it is should not be in it has the power of harming us, and it should do good only then it is so fruitful. Otherwise, if it is causing ignorance in the mankind, it is immoral. So it also appeals to the instincts of man and makes them demoralized. A poet is a good artist in so far he is a good teacher who highlights truth. So if he is highlighting truth, then only is he a good poet. Otherwise, he is demoralizing the society. So art also, he says that it is art when the poet writes, that he writes under the spell of the muses, or to say that they are under the they are inspired by the muses, and they get so much inspired that like a fountain they flow out freely whatever comes into their mind. So that and that is not reliable, and thus it does not touches the soul, because it is just their thought, their thinking. It is not the truth. It is whatever they are thinking in their mind, they are putting in black and white, and that is not the truth of reality. So, and art should be censored. The great poets is the example of that Homer, where he himself was not a military person, not had won any wars, but still he has written some work where he has shown the great heroes, the warriors fighting the wars. So that type of poetry should be banned. Now, on the philosophical objection, he says that it has poetry has the power of harming even the good. That you can say that it deals with concrete, with actions that in nature is not true, and it deals with the idea of goodness, justice, and like what something. So he regard the poets are the enemies of reason and the abstraction. So poetic truth must be the ideal form of justice, goodness, and beauty. So whatever the poet writes, it should be true, it should be just, and it should be of higher value. And as I already said that it touches the instincts of man, that it causes the great effect to the senses of man. It makes them senseless. We are in a state that we can't think rationally, and we are swayed away by the wind, and it makes them demoralized. The poets rose men to some heroic deeds, and by the example of magnificent and imperfect heroes. But the philosophy is that there is no perfectness in it. It's just the thought, the idea that came into the mind of the poet, and he has written that. Now his critical theories. He has given two critical theories regarding this poetry. One is the poetic inspiration. It is the mainspring of poetry, and the main purpose, it is expressed at great length in Ayn, one of his another famous dialogue. The main purpose of the poet was to give pleasure and not to instruct, but according to him, that the poet writes under the spell of muses, and therefore themselves are unaware of their thoughts. And so the good poet should write what where he should inspire, and also it lacks moral restraint, because poetry has certainly reached a very low level during Plato's time, and Plato was too competent a critic too much of a poet himself to fail to realize how far it has fallen. So there, whatever he has written during that time, where during that time the poetry was losing its charm and was considered at a low status. So the main purpose, as I said, is to write to give pleasure. So it has to be not to give instructions, and it should, as it was under the spell. So it was all not true, and just the emotions, the thoughts of the poet that were there. Also, it is the as the outcome of irrational and impulsive within us, that it is not the conscious considerate judgment. It is the outflow of thoughts, and it is that's why poets are capable of some presenting something that is not so true, and often they not understand what they are writing, because they are writing maybe something under the spell, and their emotions are uncontrolled, and it treats both virtue and vice alike. But it is that they have depicted poetry in such a manner that it is of no fruitful importance, or it is not having any moral values to society, for the upliftment of society. Now his theory of mimesis, or the theory of imitation. So this is the most important concept in Plato's theories. And mimesis in Greek means making one sort or the other, and it is the outcome of transcendental reality. That is because it is something supernatural that has come into the mind of the poet. So poetry imitates the appearance of things and not the truth of things. Thus, artist deals in illusions. Plato was an idealist, so he believes that ideas alone are true and real, and so beauty, goodness, justice, these are mere copies of the ideal beauty, of the things that are in heaven, the reality. So he regards imitation or mimesis as representation of these ideal forms and not expression, which is creative. So he has developed his argument in reference with the painter or the carpenter also, that I have discussed earlier, that they imitate the imitation and thus are tries to remove from reality. They are also ignorant of what they are doing. So his basic argument is that the imitation takes man away from reality rather than towards it. So we are not close to the reality. We are taken away from the reality by these things, the carpenter's chair or the painter's painting, which is not the true form. It is some creativity is put in it, or something not that is in the ideal form, that is the ideal thing is there, something is deducted from it, so it is something not in a true sense. The poet is not using the paint, but he is using verbs and nouns and rhythms appealing to the ear, where the others appealed to the eyes can recreate no more than a weak imitation of phantoms, appearances, and substantial images. So, this means that they are not taking us to something real, they are imitating things. And by imitations, we are not we are taken away from reality. We are in a world of illusion, and there's no factual basis or solidity in that. So these views which expressed in his work are these all views of Plato are expressed in his work, The Making of Literature. So we can say that in present media, which has a very great influence of our mind, many of us are imitated by the characters that are displayed in it. So the thing is that even that is not reality. Even if we say that some short story or a document is made on some topic, but it is also distorted when it is presented. It is not presented in the true sense. So to conclude, we can say Plato has made a positive and a living contribution to the making and advancement of literary criticism. It was he who, for the first time, realized and stated the nature of poetry when he said that all art is the result of imitation. Now, Plato's theory of poetry and his attack on it has a motive. And what is that? That it should be kept in mind that the main aim of his literary criticism is frankly utilitarian. That is, of educating the youth and forming them into good citizens of his ideal state. And for this, he had no idea with the good effect of music, but also with the art like gymnastics. And it is from this particular point of view that he judged poetry and find it wanting in many ways. Hence his attack on poetry. So this is the previous year question which came in 2017 December, that declared the poet as subversive. So I think all these points should be covered here. And thank you for listening me.